Merlin Mililli. Welcome to the Love Show, where we grapple with the question, what is love? Today we want to know, is love equality? Further away from the piano than normal. In our Is Love Power episode, I quoted Hara Estroff Morano at Psychology Today, stating that equality of power is important in our personal relationships, and quoting Carmen Knudsen Martin of Loma Linda University, I quote, "The ability of couples to withstand stress, respond to change, and enhance each other's health and well-being depends on their having a relatively equal power balance." Depends. Now, Loma Linda University and Psychology Today are speaking of couples relationships. But in my Is Love Power episode, I ask, why can't we also apply that to our public lives? Wouldn't that bring love out into the public light? Now, we here at the Love Show have established in many previous love shows that sex is not love. Love is not sex. So when I speak of love, I am never covertly or otherwise referring to sex. They're just not the same thing, and to think they are just muddles up one's perception of love, for sure, but perhaps even one's perception of equality. If the two are truly the same, love and equality, then neither should refer to sex. With that said, I'm not referring to sex as gender either. Gender equality is something we're going to talk about today. So I'm not saying that love is not gender equality, just that love is not sex, the act. Hopefully everyone gets that. And if you don't, hopefully you do soon. So I think that equality is love, because we found here at the Love Show that love, friends, is the path to peace. And I personally don't see a way to peace in the world without equality. The funny thing is, there are people in the world who are supposed to be love groups that are supposed to teach love, but that confuse love with sex and then judge equality from there somehow. I don't feel that it is even possible to go at a serious situation like wondering if love is equality with a pre-misconception that love is sex. I read an article while researching this show. I write these shows, love shows, myself. So I found this article in the Christian Post from 2013, written by a reverend who seemed to be really rather preoccupied with sex and with confusing sex with love. Maybe that is the best argument for priests, reverends, nuns, etc. to be able to experience sex. The best argument against celibacy to understand that sex is not love and love is not sex. Not that just because someone has sex, they understand it, and not to say that just because someone loves, they understand it either. We have done 4 seasons on what is love, so I'm not sure we all really understand it on the whole as a community or a race. Nonetheless, I feel like this Reverend was trying too hard to be hip and that he just wasn't. And mainly because he confused love with sex. Because of his confusion, he kept contradicting himself, arguing against gay marriage, but somehow not against being gay. Which brings me to gender equality. Excuse me. I have thought for many years that gay-straight preferences depend upon who you fall in love with. It has been my theory since I was a teenager, and now that I'm an adult and I make the love show, and I've made 4 seasons now, I think I believe in my theory even more. It really doesn't seem as if we have control of either love or who we fall in love with. And then there are our misconceptions. So if you can cut through the misconceptions, the prejudices, the racism, the sexism, and I guess just discrimination on the whole, you can get down to the bare bones of equality. It is like love in that it's tough to pin down. So, what is equality? Do we even know what equality is? Do we know what equality looks like? Have we ever experienced equality? Are we so far removed from equality that we don't know what it is? Just like love, are we so far removed from love that we don't know what love is anymore? Did we ever know? Are we here at the love show just on the crest of knowing? Knowing love? Knowing equality? Knowing that love is equality? So there is an advocacy organization called Love Equality. It is an organization composed of 6 different civic societies and LGBT. It just said LGBT. I always put the Q on. But charities to pursue the legislation of same-sex marriage in Northern Ireland. I guess they don't get a Q in Northern Ireland. We have a Q here in the States. In the 80s and 90s here in the US, during the AIDS epidemic, I remember being horrified to hear that my friends were dying in the hospital and that no one was going to see them. And they were dying alone. because friends like me couldn't go see them because they were in the ICU. And only family can see people in the ICU. Intensive care unit. Care. So their gay spouses couldn't see them either because they could not legally marry. So the only people who could see them were their blood relatives who had disowned them years before for being gay. So they all died alone. I think that is sad. I think that is the best reason for gay marriage to be legal. But it seems like LGBTQ folks should really not need that kind of scary end of the line reason to marry the person they love. And that same reverend whom I previously mentioned stated, and I quote, "No marriage application asks the candidates if they love each other." But they should. And they do require you to have someone oversee your ceremony. I had a reverend oversee mine and my husband's ceremony. And the reverend asked us if we loved each other. We said yes. Reverend. As far as I can tell, anyone who has to jump through the fiery hoops the LGBTQ community has to jump through to get married, and all the slack that they have to take for it, as far as I can see, these folks must really love each other. Otherwise, why would anyone do it? Why would anyone go through that kind of trouble to fight to get married? Maybe we should be asking, is love equal? We certainly don't seem to receive it in equal amounts. We should, but we don't. It did not work that way in my family. My parents played favorites, as many parents do. Some parents just don't teach love or equality, for that matter. Maybe love and equality both start in the family, in the home, at the hearth. If you want to change the world, go home and love your family. Mother Teresa said that. I love her. We proved here at the Love Show that Mother Teresa is love. Is the hearth love? Another love show. So in the family, does everyone tend the fire, or just one gender? Just one person? Is there equality in the tending of the fire? Is there love in your family's equality? I worked hard to put love into my family's equality. I taught my son to do the dishes and the laundry and to cook. I taught my girls the same. Everyone that is responsible enough may tend the fire. Most families don't tend a fire anymore. I love my wood stove. My hearth, the way it warms my home. Is fire love? Certainly not when it's raging through the forest towards your home. But a little hearth fire is a little flame love. Another love show. The Zoroastrians believe love is a flame, one ancient flame that has been burning for thousands of years. A flame has to have some equality to remain, certainly for thousands of years. There must be air, right? But not too much air. There must be spark, but not too much spark. Just the right balance of elements in the right place at the right time. That sounds a lot like love's behavior to me. I think what I have found then, now, is that equality is like power and strength. We just did shows on both and found both to be love. But it is not just that love is equality, but that you cannot have equality without love. Just like strength and power, you cannot have real strength without love, or real power without love. I don't think we figure out what equality looks like without taking a good look at life, other people's lives, with love. We cannot even begin to judge what is equal if we don't first bring love to the table to head the negotiations. Love should guide legislation. Now, I'm not saying religion or sex, but love. We should not only be bringing love to the negotiating table, but love should be dictating and running the whole show. We should ask on our marriage applications if you love each other. And if not, then what is your reason for marrying? Those would be some very good questions to ask. And perhaps if they asked, we wouldn't have so many divorces. Certainly would even the ball field, at least sort of try to help create some sort of equality. I think that love should really be the only reason two people marry. So is love equality? I think that we have found that it is. But again, like strength and power, equality is so much more. I think we can only have equality with love in the mix. Real love begets real equality, begets real strength, begets real power. Let us imagine what equality would look like. Unarmed black men would not be targets for police. Gay folks could, but not during a pandemic, comfort spouses as they die in the hospital. And they could marry who they love. in the first place and have a seat on the Supreme Court. Definitely needs some more people of color and women on the Supreme Court. For sure. Women of color. Now, that would be something. The Supreme Court might have 5 men, 5 women, all ethnically diverse, half conservative, half liberal. Is that equal? But what about the LGBTQ representative? Do we have one of those? Certainly don't have enough people of color, like I said. Do we ask our Supreme Court justices to rule with love? We should. If they did, I'm sure if they did, I'm not sure we'd ever be equal, but we'd be balanced. Is love balance? Another love show. Love is equality, friends. I'm sure of it now. Love is equality so much that we would not even have equality or even entertain the idea without love. Love! Love is equality. Put some love in the system, and we will get equality out. I love you. Thanks for watching. Love!